You need a playoff win. You need to actually show some competency, Justin Herbert. This is specifically to you. There's no more excuses. You have the run game. You have the defense. You have the offensive weaponry. You have the coach. There's just no more excuses for you.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not. Welcome back to the Warner Brothers podcast. I'm Kyle, joined by my brother Keenan, joined by Brandon Petty. This is part 2 of the Word Association podcast. We did the 0-3 teams. Funny enough, we had 6 0-3 teams, and we've got 6 3-0 teams. So we will be doing Word Association with the 3-0 teams.
Not gonna lie to you, the Word Association podcast kind of be a dope name. It's kind of
that would be. Yeah,
That's actually not a bad just podcast in general name. The Word Association podcast.
Maybe there already is one out there because there's like 1 million and
I'm talking wop. That's that Word Association podcast.
Giving away the ideas for free.
Yeah, I know.
Giving away the ideas for free. Fellas, should we jump right into it?
Jump right in.
Yeah, head first.
First team on my list, the Buffalo Bills. Keenan, Petty, who wants to take a swing at it first?
Super Bowl.
Oh,
Super
that's 2
Bowl.
words.
That it is, but they need the 2, like Super Bowl. Put it together as one, because the Chiefs look as more vulnerable as ever. Obviously, it's week 3, or going into week 4, so like we know, like obviously there's so much more football to be played. Chiefs look as vulnerable as they've looked in the last few years. Ravens have holes. You beat the Ravens, obviously, because the Ravens let you come back in the game when you were down 40-25, and you managed to win 41-40. The Chargers are there. The Chargers are real. We'll be talking about them here soon. The AFC is weak. The AFC, the upper echelon of the AFC is stronger, but like 9-8 can get you in the AFC. Like there's no one in the AFC East you got to worry about. There's really a couple teams, like the 3 teams I named. Like realistically, we're gonna talk about the Colts too. I don't think we're gonna worry about the Colts beating you in a playoff game. At least I hope not. If that's the case, great shout out Jones. But Super Bowl, this is the year for the Bills. Everything should run through last year of your stadium. That stadium there as we stand in. Everything should run through Buffalo. Super Bowl. At least get to the game. Super Bowl.
Yeah, my word's championship. I think this is the year. Obviously, I had Baltimore. I'm still hoping they kind of fix those holes, but we're not talking about Baltimore right now. I think Buffalo's got it all. Like, I think James Cook is playing like one of the best, if not the best, running backs in the NFL. I think they don't have a number 1 guy. And this is kind of something that I thought going into the season. Like, I figured they needed a number 1 guy for them to kind of like that next step. I think their offense is kind of perfect like it is right now. Like, they've got 4 or 5 guys at receiver that they can just rotate, and then Dalton Kincaid. They got a stable of running backs that all kind of do different things. Obviously, James Cook's your bell cow. Ty Johnson's your 3rd down back. Like, the defense looks good and opportunistic. Like, this is the year. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, if you don't win it now, like, then when's it going to happen? Like, to everything Keenan said, weak AFC, like, all that sort of stuff. Like, you got to go do it.
They remind me offensively of how, like, the Patriots are built, like, with the Bill Belichick. Now, obviously, the Josh Allen and Tom Brady are not even close to the same player, but, like, there was never a player on the Patriots. Like, they had Rob Gronkowski, and Edelman was good. Amendola was good. Chris Hogan was good, but they weren't superstars. But they were able to superstar in the role that they needed to be. Khalil Shakir is not a superstar, but he is perfect for what they need in the slot, knows how to read Josh Allen. Keon Coleman's becoming better. Dalton Kincaid knows how to play. Dawson Knox when he comes in. James Cook is a very good back, obviously. I think they have players who are perfect at what they do. It's kind of in the sense of the do your job kind of team. So that's what I think the Bills are built perfectly for what they need, because they don't always need Josh Allen to put on the cape. But obviously we know if he needs to go Superman in a game, we saw week 1, he can go 250 for 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Like, he has that ability to, but he doesn't have to with this team, because his team is built from the offensive line, defensive line, and out. So This is the year they need to compete.
Keen, who do they have on Sunday? The Bills?
The Saints.
Saints. Okay.
Yeah, they're favored by 15.5.
Word. Yeah. No, I don't have much to say. My words aligned. And Brandon said something that I said in the offseason plenty of times when I was discussing the Bills, and that's if it's not this year, then when is it? You get that. I would say a gift, but now it looks like an earned win now that we have Derrick Henry fumble in all 3 games. But
Uh-huh.
you got a classic of a week 1 game with the Ravens where you shouldn't have won, but you do. Okay, then you go blow out the Jets. Okay, then the Dolphins put the fear of God in you, but guess what? They threw a pick at the end, and you're 3-0, 10 days rest going into, as Keenan, you just said, the Saints, who we all
And
know the Bills are going to win. What's up?
let me just read this real quick, and then I'll let you finish. The Saints, the Patriots, the Falcons, a bye, the Panthers, the Chiefs.
They could reasonably be 10-0. They should be undefeated going into that Chiefs game.
The Chiefs,
and we'll see.
so that would be 8-0 going into the Chiefs game, and then they've got the Dolphins, they got the Bucs, Texans, Steelers, but then you got then they end the season with Cincinnati, New England, Cleveland, Philly, then New York. They've got 3 or 4 other games, like 14-3. They should fall into 14-3. 13-4 and with the way the only team that looks like they'll be able to compete with them really is the Chargers, because I don't see the Chiefs going from 1-2 or 1-3 maybe, and the Ravens going from 1-2 or 1-3, because one of those two teams will be 1-3 Sunday at 8:30.
Yeah,
and them going up for the 1 seed. So like they really should go through Buffalo, and this is, as I said, you asked about the Sean McDermott era. I think that if they don't win it this year, I think then you have to start looking somewhere like, what can we do to change around this roster? And that's why I said it might not be the end of Josh Allen's tenure to get a Super Bowl, but the Josh Allen Sean McDermott tandem might be, and I think it's even lining up more that way that it could be if they don't reach the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we'll see. Much can happen.
Absolutely.
If I didn't say it already, my word is aligned. I can't remember. So, but like you just said, like I heard someone say before the season, like they could lose that Ravens game and then run the table after that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty optimistic. And then I remember I looked at the schedule, and that was a big part of why I picked them to win the Super Bowl, because again, exactly what Brandon said. If not this year, then when? Because all the important games are at home, like that Ravens game, like that Chiefs game will be. You mentioned the Eagles and Bengals, Keenan. Without even looking at their schedule, I know they're at home because they had no tough game of consequence other than divisional games that are on the road. And
that Bengals game made a whole lot easier now that it's no Joe Burrow.
And that's what came to mind, Keenan, after you read the schedule. That schedule seems a whole lot easier now than it did 3 weeks ago. They could honestly 14-3.
Houston looks easier. Pittsburgh looks easier.
Tampa,
they have Kansas City, Tampa, and Philly as like the games right now that stick out, because Kansas City is always just going to be a tough kind of rivalry game. And then and then Tampa, they look good, and then Philly obviously looks good. Like those are the 3 games that stick out.
Yeah. And I think I think this Bills team, Keenan, has holes in it. It has holes, but if you're going to be 7-0, it doesn't matter. And the Ravens already got 2 dumb losses out of the way. And the Ravens schedule is a little more promising than it should be for a number 1 team. But I already think, like I'd said coming into the year, like that game's gonna have huge ramifications on the 1 seed, Ravens and Bills. I didn't think it would be pretty much immediately wrapped up, because man, I really, before that Chiefs game, Keenan, I don't see the Bills losing. And going into that Chiefs game right now, those two face each other. I've got the Bills winning pretty easily against the Chiefs from what I've seen.
The playoffs have been the problem. The regular season, they've beaten the Chiefs the last 3-4 years.
Right.
So like the thing is, like the playoffs is where Josh is 0-4, but like I think he's either 3-0 or 4-0 against them in the regular season. So that's a game that they're not scared, like, oh, we can't win this game. Like Baltimore's 1-5, like Lamar, his totality against the Chiefs, last 4. That's one where he's like, we just need to get over this hump. Josh is like, this is just another game. This isn't a marquee game, but this is another game. Like we can win this one. So like, 14-3, as I thought they would be, but like I didn't think it'd be this easy because I thought like, the Steelers are maybe even easier than I thought. Like that defense doesn't look great right now.
It's hard to see them losing more than 3. Like they will. I can't imagine they'll lose more than 3. I can't.
They can afford a dumb loss or two and be okay. Like that's the position they put themselves in. The only other team we'll talk about them, I don't know when, but the Chargers will be that team where you're like, okay, maybe they can make it so Buffalo has to play, but it also all depends.
Well, I was gonna choose a different team, but let's just go right into the Chargers because they are 3-0. They're also in the AFC. We'll start with Petty. Chargers. What's your word for the Los Angeles Chargers?
My word is WTF. What the fuck? And the reason being is because everybody, pretty much everybody, 100% of people, whatever, thought that this was going to be a smash mouth, run the ball football team. And through 3 weeks, nah. Looks like Justin Herbert's back at Oregon again. They're going air raid. He's dropping back, throwing the ball 30, 40 times. And honestly, it's working to perfection. Like this team, I'm kind of sitting here thinking, like, how do you stop this team? Because, like, obviously it's unfortunate what happened to Najee Harris, but like that kind of allowed Amari and Hampton to break out. And now it's like, all right, you got the running element, but then you've also got this team that can just throw the ball up and down the field. You got Keenan Allen underneath. You got Ladd McConkey underneath and intermediate. Then you got to worry about Quentin Johnston, who all of a sudden now just knows how to play football. Like, you got to worry about him. Like, there's 3 receivers you got to worry about.
Trey
like the
Harris
defense
at some point could come on too.
Yeah, Trey Harris is there. Keandre Lambert-Smith. Like, they roll 5 deep. They have a tight end who probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks out, Rondé Gadsden. I think he had like 5 or 6 catches last week. Like, the defense is legit. Like, this team is really good. And I think Herbert now is starting to get the top 5 recognition that I think he's always deserved because I've always thought he's a great quarterback. So, like, they're a contender. Like, they're a big-time contender. And I'm honestly I'm not super surprised, but I'm a little surprised just because of the way they're doing it.
So I know this, obviously we're having one word, but I need a little bit of a phrase. It's no more excuses for me. There's no excuses for Justin Herbert. Like the Chiefs, you could win the division this year. Like there's a good chance the Ravens easily could beat the Chiefs. And if you win, you're 4-0 and they're 1-3, they're not going to catch you most likely. You can win the division. Multiple home playoff games. I'm not saying that you need to go win it all because we literally just talked about how Buffalo's Super Bowl ceiling, and I think that if they were playing the game right now, whether it was in the Charger land or in Buffalo, I would take Buffalo right now. Like, I'm going with Josh Allen. I trust him over that. So, like, I wouldn't expect you to win, but you need to need a playoff win. There's no reason you'll be favored in whatever game you're in. You need a playoff win. You need to actually show some competency, Justin Herbert. This is specifically to you. There's no more excuses. You have the run game. You have the defense. You have the offensive weaponry. You have the coach. There's just no more excuses for you. So, because I think that this team is really good, and I think this team easily could get to an AFC championship game as long as things fall line and they don't. I mean, they could get beat. They see the Ravens in the second round, the Ravens beat them or something like that. Or maybe even the Ravens beat them in round 1. But if the Ravens are the 6 or 7 seed, I still think you should win that game. I really do. Because if that's the case, that would mean if you're seeing the Ravens in the first round, that means something happened in Baltimore and they didn't win the division. Or if you see the Chiefs and it's tough, then I get it, I guess. But even still, it depends how things play out, but no more excuses is my little phrase instead of a word.
Yeah. And you know what, Ken? Teams like this is the real reason I wanted to do this exercise with 0-3 and 3-0 because the one thing I harped on with this division, and we all harped on really, is how tough this division is. There's 4 teams that can all play. I mean, the Raiders don't look good right now, but still 4 tough teams once you go through 17 games. And with the Chargers, man, so the word I'm going to use is sleeper. All right. So I agree with Brandon. Like, they've got the look. It hasn't been pretty, especially weeks 2 and 3. Like, there was times where it looked like they could have lost those games. And times they look like the old Chargers where they were trying to give away the games, but they didn't. That's why they don't look like your father's Chargers. They don't look like the Philip Rivers Chargers.
3-0 in the division already, which is huge.
Yeah, that's unbelievably huge, right? Pause. But we got with Herbert, with Harbaugh. Yeah, right.
Felt the
Put the
T.
TO up. That was an unintentional flagrant foul too, by the way.
That's a 10.
That's two T's. Uh, with Herbert, with Harbaugh, and with the expectations some had for him. Like, this is a polarizing team. When we did the AFC West, I kind of picked him at 9-8 and said, like, I kind of need Herbert to win these games in order for me to pick him over the Broncos. Like, I like the Broncos roster better, whatever. But the fact that you've got the Ravens at 1-2, the fact that you got the Chiefs at 1-2, the fact that you got the Bills, who we just talked about, at 3-0, that's what people are talking about right now, is those three teams. And the
Yep.
Chargers, who I'm sure love this. I'm sure Herbert and Harbaugh both love this. They're flying under the radar at 3-0. Even the Steelers are probably being talked about a little more than the Chargers, just because of the whole Aaron Rodgers experiment. Um,
Yeah.
so the at 3-0, they were 3-0 last year to start the year. They're flying under the radar, and again, they're winning in ways we weren't expecting. We thought it was going to be more of a
Mhm.
ground and pound team, and they've given Herbert a lot of rain. And I cannot wait to see what this team is after 11, 12 weeks, especially if they're still healthy.
They might have
Yeah.
one loss. Let me read you their schedule real
Oh,
quick. The Giants,
yeah.
the
They're
Commanders,
gonna
that'll be
kill.
a tough game. The Dolphins, the Colts, they'll play them tough. The Vikings should play them tough. But, like, those are still games that they can win. Then the Titans and the Steelers, then the Jags, then a bye, then the Raiders.
It's set up right
They'll
now.
they'll be favored in every single one of those games except for no, they have the Commanders, they have the Colts, and they have the Vikings all at home. They'll be favored in every single one of those games.
Should be.
And then they after the Raiders, they see the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Cowboys, Houston, and Denver. So then that ending portion of the season, I think, will be good for them because it'll be tune-ups to get themselves ready for the playoffs. But 12-5 is easily on the board for them. I'd be a little upset right now at this point with the schedule they have if they weren't 12-5 and won the division.
For sure. For sure. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Keen, we'll start with you.
I would say resilient, I guess, would be the word. I don't even love that word for them. I'm just gonna say consistent. They're just gonna consistently win games. That's what it is. They'll find different ways how to. Jalen Hurts obviously has been a huge topic of our podcast. Probably the biggest topic of our podcast, biggest topic of a lot of shows too. Like, I mean, deservedly so. He's the most polarizing quarterback in the league right now. Honestly, next would be Mahomes, just because of how great he is, but also he's not playing at that standard. But Jalen Hurts, like, he can win a game with his arm. We've seen it multiple times. Saquon Barkley's not running great this year, but there also teams are loading up, waiting for it. This team's going to win ugly. This team's not going to have flashy, fun games. The tush push is kind of obviously a little bit of a, oh my goodness gracious, like, is it should ban it, don't ban it, whatever. Now it's controversial. So actually, the word I'm going to use is polarizing. Sorry, I had to switch. Polarizing.
Okay.
So I think this team is overall everything about it. Even Nick Sirianni is polarizing for people. Some people are like, he's not good. Some people are like, he's great. Some people it's like, I just think this whole team's polarizing, but I also think that they're really good and they're going to continue to win games. They'll be at least a 12-win team, not more, and be a 3-ish seed, maybe a 1 seed, but they'll be a top 3 seed. And we'll be talking about them in mid-January. Like, hey, can this team go do it again?
Yeah, my word for the Eagles is boring. Um, because of it's just and that's no knock on them as a team. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with Keenan. I think they're a great team. It's just the way they play. It's just the way they win games. It's because you see last week they get AJ Brown involved. Like, they want to run the ball every single week. That they want to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and that's how they want to win. They just want to out physical you, run the ball down your throat, and put you into a 20-17 game, 21-14 game, like anything like that. Like, they can win in multiple ways, and a lot of those ways, it's not going to be a pretty game.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're the football fan that enjoys like a high scoring affair, like where it's just back and forth, a lot of these Eagles games are not going to be for it because it's going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be an ugly battle from whistle to whistle. And I think a lot of people like to shit on the Eagles because of the fact that they don't put up the gaudy stats, but this is a great football team. Like they check off every box. And I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 12, 13 1 team. Like I think they're a top three seed easily. Could end up being the number one overall seed again in the NFC. So, but yeah, they damn sure they're not passing the eye appeal test by any means at all. But they win. So
Yeah, my word for the Eagles would be ho hum, because this is what they do, regardless of how it looks, regardless of what the score is. They're going to start out either 3-0 or 2-1. I
Mm-hmm.
read off the 2023 and 24 teams that were 3-0. They were 3-0 in 2023. 2022, I believe they started 3-0 as well, because that was the year they went 14-3. And then last year, they must have started 2-1. I'm assuming. I remember there being some dissension because I think they started 0-1, but I think they won their next two. Regardless,
They won the first game against Jordan Love because that was the
right,
overseas game, and then they lost the second one,
and then won against the Saints
won
in
the
week 3.
third, and then they lost the fourth one to Tampa, and they
Took
haven't
off.
lost since.
Took off.
And they lost one game since, but that was to the Commanders without Jalen Hurts.
Sure.
Jalen Hurts hasn't lost since they saw Tampa, and they see Tampa again, which is why this game's gonna be fun.
Absolutely, can't wait. But it's ho hum for them. They're, like you guys said, they're elite. Only thing I would disagree with Brandon on, and I know it's kind of crazy because I've kind of went back and forth on Hurts on how I don't think he can win with his arm necessarily, is even regardless of that, I do think, as we saw in this Rams game, push comes to shove, they can get in that shootout or they can get high scoring numbers, but that's the thing. They got to be pushed and shoved to get there. They, like you guys said, they got to win. They want to win at the line of scrimmage. They want to win ugly, but if push comes to shove, they will open it up. Again, Jalen Hurts shut me the fuck up with his 18-point comeback, so I can't say shit until he flubs a comeback, I guess, next time.
At least not this week.
I can't talk shit anymore.
You got a week, Kyle.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens with Tampa. But ho hum for me, because this is
they don't want to get in a late game shootout with that guy,
right?
Bake Show, that's Yosemite Sam.
Let's
Yosemite Sam.
That's Yosemite Sam. That's Yosemite Sam off the hip.
Let's segue right into the Bucs. Keenan, this is your team. One of your team. This is your quarterback. Talk to us about the 3-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
This is the team I'll use Resilient for.
Okay.
This is the team. Because it doesn't matter who is on the field. They're not even going to have Mike Evans on Sunday this week. Mike Evans left the game. It's no Mike Evans. They might have Chris Godwin. He's been a full participant in practice, so he might get him back. But it doesn't matter who's out there. It doesn't matter who's healthy. They've been missing multiple offensive linemen. You take the DNA of your coach and your quarterback, and Todd Bowles has been a feisty, kind of resilient kind of style coach where he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves, in my personal opinion. I think that he is a better coach. Like, no one really talks about it, which is kind of a good thing sometimes and kind of a bad thing sometimes. Like, obviously, we talk about all the offensive coaches or Dan Campbell because he's kind of out there, boisterous, but also Dan Campbell deserves to be talked about. Todd Bowles just goes in there, does his job, is going to coach a very well buttoned up group, do very well coaching the defense, and then just move on. And then you have Baker Mayfield, who is the definition of the word resilient. I mean, obviously, he went from a walk-on to being a number one overall pick, to having a really good rookie season, to then being shipped out of town after playing through a shoulder injury his last year in Cleveland, goes to Carolina, goes then to LA, then comes to the Bucs, and then people don't think he's going to be good, me included, on that after Tom Brady goes there, and all he's done is win the division, win a playoff game, win the division, lose, and then play really well in the playoffs, and then now just go and win games. And I think you just take the DNA of those two guys leading the squad, so I think this Bucs team's resilient. And the team that, if you're going to try to put them away, you got to put them away and keep them there. Because give them a little sliver of hope, and this team's like, yeah, we got it. With that guy leading us there, we got it. So resilient is the word I'd use for him.
I'll give you 2 words. It's watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Look, watch out. Here comes Yosemite Sam. Like I think the offensive line, obviously, you lose Luke Godecki and then Cody
Mhm.
Maw for the season. I think they'll figure that out. I'm not worried about it. They'll get
Worst's
Tristan Wirfs
coming
back.
back at some point,
Yeah.
so that's all that matters.
Mike Evans is out for 3 to 4 weeks. You got Chris Godwin coming back. You have Emeka Buka, who's been great. I think
Mhm.
Bucky Irving will get going.
Mhm.
This is a team that just finds a way to win. Like you said, Keenan, they take the DNA of Todd Bowles to a team. Like that defense is opportunistic. That defense was very good and very underrated, I think. And when they're at full health here in a couple of weeks, like they're not a team that you should play with at all. Especially if the running game's clicking, the passing game's clicking. I mean, you know they're going to be able to move the ball up and down the field as long as Baker Mayfield's there. Um, I think they're a great team. Like, and for them to be 3-0 with all these injuries they've had as well too, to your point, that shows how resilient they are. The fact that they're able to overcome, and these are big injuries too. Like they're not scrubs that are second or third team guys. Like these are,
Mhm.
you're talking an all pro left tackle, a Pro Bowl receiver, a future Hall of Fame receiver who's now out for a couple of weeks, like 2 starting caliber offensive linemen. Like these, they're not just your average Joes that they're losing week after week or that they haven't had week after week, and they're still able to go out there and win a football game and play for 60 minutes. So I think once they do get healthy, watch out.
Yeah, they're a team right now. The meat of their schedule is like right now. Once it lightens up, they end the season Arizona, New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, Carolina. So like if they, I mean they have a tough stretch right now. Philly, Seattle, San Fran, Detroit, see New Orleans in there, New England, but then in Buffalo, LA. So like you've got a tough stretch of games for them where they're gonna being not at 100% against the top teams in the NFC for the majority, and then a couple teams in the AFC that you're like, oh, okay, those are some teams there too, or one team, which is the Buffalo Bills. But overall, this team is going to be, especially if they get healthy and rolling at the end of the season,
They should.
watch out the perfect word for you because, like, they're going to go in there with resilient confidence on a hot streak saying, I don't care who it is. If you want to come to Tampa or we'll go to your place, we're going to win. So,
Yeah. No, my word for this team would be magical. We've seen it. 3 come from behind wins in the first 3 games. Keen, you just alluded to the tough schedule they have. And the reason why I say magical, I think all 3 of us can see out of that stretch, like 3 of those games being like the game of the week. And,
oh,
another
yeah.
Baker comeback and something we're going to remember. Um, much like the Lions last year, Keenan, where it just seemed like one way or another, if this ain't going to be their year, like it's going to be a spectacular loss, right? And that's what it
Mm-hmm.
was. And that's how I feel about the Bills. I feel like one way or another, we're going to remember the Bills, whether it's a Super Bowl win or loss or an AFC championship win or loss, right? I guess in
Feeling
that case
real
would be a
good about my
loss.
Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Really,
Like either way, it seems like the
really good.
Bills will not lose before the AFC championship game. And whenever, if ever that loss comes, it'll be spectacular. And if that win in the big game, obviously that'll be a
Mm-hmm.
monumental moment. It's kind of how I feel about the Bucs. I feel like one way or another, if they win, maybe they're in the NFC championship game and they're going to put the fear of God in whatever team they face. And we're going to remember that game forever because it'll be one of those games.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they lose, it'll be similar to the Lions last year. Will be just one of those games you remember. Whether it's
Mm-hmm.
a close loss, whether it's a weird loss like last year. I just feel like much like the Bills, much like you name a team that we've been talking about, whether it's the Ravens, whether it's the Chiefs, the Bucs are going to be like at the forefront of whatever happens in
Yeah.
January. So magical,
I agree with that.
magical.
I agree with that 100%. It's kind
And
of like
maybe the proper word, Keenan, maybe I should use memorable instead of magical there. Because I think the
yeah.
first 3 games
I
they're
mean,
I like
magical,
that.
but
Yeah.
I think
mem-
overall this team's going to be memorable.
memorable that could turn magical, obviously,
Sure.
depending on how the season goes. But
Last thing
it's kind of go on.
Last thing I would say,
And
Keenan,
I'll say
before
one
you
thing.
go is with Baker.
Yeah.
Maybe this is more personal for me, but I was never a fan of him getting drafted number 1. I thought that was a reach. Then I didn't really like him in Cleveland for whatever reason, and he's now become one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. And it
Yeah.
seems like no one in the league, like anyone who's a fan of football or anybody who follows football, it seems like he has such a high approval rating now compared to what he did in Cleveland. But especially
He was
now, like
such
everyone's just like loves Baker.
yeah, because like he was arrogant and young, like early on at Oklahoma, planting the flag and like just like there was things that like people did that like your traditional person was like, I'm turned off by that. So like he kind of his personality made him kind of a polarizing guy back and forth. But then like it almost was like, yeah, he humbled himself and blah blah blah. But like now I think he plays with bravado, but he also plays with like a sense of like humility to him. Like I know like every game matters because every game there's no need for me to be here right now. Like obviously he's made it so there's a need for him to be there, but like realistically, it's like, oh, I could not be here right now because of the way life has prevailed from but gone for me, but I've prevailed through that. So shout out to him.
Fellas, it's getting late. We only have two more teams, so we should be finished here pretty soon. We're going to go with the San
Yeah.
Francisco 49ers and Petty. Go ahead. What do you think?
I got a statement for you. Here we go again.
Okay. All right. Forwards.
Um, it's something we see year after year. The injury bug is striking again. I'm convinced there's some witch somewhere that has unleashed some black
Yeah.
magic on the
We need
49ers. Nick Bosa tore his ACL. He's done for the season. Sucks. That's a huge blow for their defense. That defense is going to take a step back now. Probably a pretty big step back. Obviously, Brock Purdy's hurt. Juwan Jennings, it looks like he might only play literally 6 or 7 games this year. He might alternate. Like I would be surprised because 1-1. Um, like it's Christian McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall. Somehow they're winning with Mac Jones. I don't understand how. But it's working until Brock Purdy comes back. But they're one injury away from it just going off the rails. And we know who that is. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want it to happen, but we know. And I feel like we're starting to see a story that we see year after year. And it's just the old bug creeping back in the building. And it's unfortunate to see because at 3-0, like you would hope that like these guys that are hurt are actually, let's say roles were reversed, if they were hurt coming into the season, that hey, they're coming back, then you'd be looking at it a whole lot different. But that's not the case here. And it's unfortunate because now when Brock Purdy comes back, it's going to have to be an offensive driven team. Like there's going to be dialogue about Brock Purdy, especially if they end up with 6-7 wins. So it's just an ugly situation.
My word's unfortunate. Tiger, want to go?
I was just gonna say when Brandon was like, I'm not gonna say who, but we all know who it is. It reminded me. I don't know if y'all seen the Kanye clip where he's where he's talking about a doctor. And he's like, I'm not gonna say what race the doctor is. I can't say it, and then immediately said what was on his mind. So that's what came to mind when Brandon said that. It was a Jewish doctor.
Unfortunate is what I got because I think they put themselves in a situation where they get players, they get good, they looked good, they were even dealing with like the Brock Purdy injury. Like you can deal with Brock Purdy and George Kittle being out because you've got Mac Jones, you've got Kyle Shanahan, you've got enough talent in the receiving room, so like you could deal with all of that, and then your second best or best defensive player, depends how you feel about Fred Warner, whatever. But a very vital piece to the defense is now out. And you're like, just like, what's this training staff doing? And I know we haven't talked about this team because they're not in this category because they lost last week. But real quick, Joe Burrow must be kicking himself seeing what this AFC looks like. And like, you've got to be kidding. We started 2-0, even in games we shouldn't have, like, we didn't even play great in. Are you kidding me? I could have went up against Carson Wentz in week 3. Like, he must be kicking himself. Like, you've got to be kidding me, this injury thing again. But that's the same thing with the 49ers, where it's just like, on paper, when they're healthy, you're like, could you see this team in the Super Bowl? Yes, we've seen it. Could you see them hoisting a trophy? Yes, we haven't seen it, but they have been in overtime with a lead or in the fourth quarter with a lead really close. Really close. And you're like, okay, we could hold it. Just that Super Bowl championship looks like it's going to elude Kyle Shanahan again, maybe. And it's just injury-wise this time. So it's unfortunate.
My word, and it's not really a word, is because of all the reasons why you guys just illustrated, right? So regardless of what all y'all said, they're still 3-0 in a tough division. The Cardinals, we want to talk about injuries. The Cardinals have nobody in the secondary right now. Everyone's banged up. They took advantage of that with their backup quarterback. This team is actually used to injuries. Last year was like the season from hell with injuries, and it's trending that way right now. But they're going to get Kittle back. They are going to get Ayuk back here in a couple weeks. And the fact that they lost Bosa, yeah, that sucks. But they do have the re-addition to Robert Saleh to their defense, and we've seen a big difference in their defense already with Robert Saleh. So I actually think, and I think we've seen them in this position before, I think they'll replace Bosa by making a trade for some sort of pass rusher, and I think they'll be okay. I'm a little more optimistic about this team, actually. That being said, if they, on top of the guys who are already out, like Kittle and Ayuk, if they get more injuries on top of that, specifically to their offense, then okay, then we got something to worry about. But if they can kind of just maintain until Ayuk and Kittle come back, and they can continue to get competency from their defense, and toughness from their defense, and then maybe add a pass rusher down the line, I think they'll be okay. Can't wait to see the
They're
Rams
playing
games and see how that matches up. But I think they'll be okay for right now. Obviously, my opinion could change, but that's why I'm saying because it could go either way. Could go the way you guys are saying, where it could be a little more pessimistic, or it could go the other way, especially with Purdy, Ayuk, and Kittle coming back. So we'll see.
Jacksonville, the Rams, the Bucs, Atlanta, Houston, New York,
Favorable
LA.
Favorable schedule.
They have some favorable games in there. The things that I'm worried about, though, are they're going to be dealing with some pass rushes over the next few weeks, like guys who really get after you, and just some physical defenses. And I'm just stay healthy. If they can get through that and they can walk out of that, like that last Rams game, with everybody healthy and coming back, they'll be okay. It's more
Where you
so
hold your
just
breath at.
it's where you
You're
hold your
sitting there,
breath. You're like, oh, Todd Bowles likes to blitz, and oh man, the Rams can get after you. It's like, oh, what if Abdul Carter's figured it out by then? Houston, that's a real defense. Atlanta can get after you, or they're two young pass rushers. It's like you hold your breath because you're like, we need to get this team through that stretch healthy. And if they can get through that healthy, record-wise, doesn't even matter to me. You can't lose every game, obviously, but like it doesn't even matter. Like they can go 3-3.
They just need a wild card spot when it comes to this team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they can go 3-3, 3-4 during that stretch because they have Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, Tennessee, Indy, Chicago, Seattle. Like that's a winnable schedule.
If you can split,
if you can get a,
go ahead, Kyle. I was gonna say if you can split, or even at least if you can go 2-0 against the Rams, then by all means. But if you can at least split with the Rams, you're gonna have a chance at the division, especially starting off 3-0. Yeah. Go ahead, Petty. Not that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, if this is a wild card team at the end of the year, fully healthy offensively, that's a team you do not want to face in the playoffs. No, especially if you got Jennings, Ayuk, and Pearsall, and then you got Kittle, McCaffrey, and Brian Robinson with the healthy Brock Purdy. Like, yeah, you don't want to see that team.
Yeah, no, like the NFC is going to be so difficult. Before we get to our last team, real quick, the NFC is going to be so difficult because you're going to have the Packers or the Lions are winning the division, which means one of those two teams is going to somebody. The 49ers say they're healthy. The 49ers and Rams, one of those two are most likely going to win the division, which means like the 49ers and let's say the Lions per se right now. Those two teams might be going like, hey, we're going to Philly, and then hey, we're going to Green Bay. Like that's just a tough first game. Two veteran teams that are like, yeah, we were 2 years ago. We actually were playing in the NFC Championship game for a berth through the Super Bowl. So like that there is just going to be super tough. I'm excited to see exactly how it plays out, but that's going to be super tough. It's going to be fun.
100%. Our last team is the surprise Indianapolis Colts. Whichever one of you wants to take the reins on this one first, go ahead.
I got it. I got a phrase and I was wrong, and it's okay. It's all right. I was wrong on. I thought Daniel Jones was going to come in here and wasn't going to do much for this team. He was competing with Anthony Richardson for the job, and I saw how Anthony Richardson looked last year, and I was like, wait, is there a competition with Anthony Richardson? This guy might not be good anymore still. Nope, he's fine. Jonathan Taylor running all over people. That's one thing in fantasy I never understood, where people were worried about drafting him. And I was like, what? Why are we worried? He's going to get touch the ball 20 to 25 times a game, and he runs really well. And yeah, no, this team is just playing complementary football, playing nice. They can win in multiple ways right now with the way Daniel Jones is playing. So I was wrong, and I'm fine with being wrong. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be wrong. So shout out to the Colts. You guys are the best team in that division right now for sure. You have the most competent top team, top to bottom. You're the favorites, should be to win the division. I think that there's a good chance that you guys do win the division with the way I've seen from the Jags. The Texans are 0-3, the Titans are 0-3. So you should be hosting a playoff game this year, Daniel Jones, unless you do something crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if they win the division, they're hosting a playoff game. So they should be the Jags. I know they're 2-1, and they theoretically could. Haven't loved any of their wins this year so far. So shout out to the Colts right now. Obviously, it's going into week 4. They look like they're going to win the division, and shout out to them. And shout out to Daniel Jones because he looks great. Looks great.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with Keenan on this. I was also wrong. I didn't see this working out at all, mainly because I thought Daniel Jones was an absolute bum at quarterback.
Fair enough.
And I guess it's just one of these things where it's just the perfect situation. And it's one of those situations where it's a 1% chance situation. And it just so happened to work out. I do think they'll win the division. I hope that Jacksonville makes it a little difficult on them. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little regression. And when I say a little regression, like I wouldn't be surprised if at some point when you start playing tougher teams that you see a little bit of kind of like the old Daniel Jones. Like,
we'll know this week. If he
yeah,
goes out there and if he plays really well against the Rams, I think this is
then
going to be, we're going to get in the Sam Darnold effect from last year, where I don't think the Colts are as good as the Vikings are if you strip quarterback away from it. I think they're a little lesser tier, but still good defense, great complementary pieces. But the Vikings obviously are like a Super Bowl base team. Honestly, if you just take quarterback off it, you put Mahomes on that team with even how he's playing now, you'd be like, oh my god, this team's just gonna go all the way. So,
yeah.
but it's Sam Darnold last year was the same thing. It was like, it's not going to last. It kept lasting, kept going and going. You're like, okay. End of the year, it started to fade off, and that was when you saw Sam Darnold really kind of not be the greatest. But even then, feels like kind of that last year instead of it being like the Saints.
That's why I say regression is because now I don't know if it's going to happen. Obviously, I do think they're going to win the division, but I think if it does happen, it's because teams figured out the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of complimentary guys. Obviously, the first thing is you got to stop, which is easier said than done.
Yeah.
But I am extremely surprised. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in football right now. Like, argue
Yeah.
to a wall. Like, I don't care. He is. And yeah, I'm incredibly shocked that they're 3-0.
Yeah. I'm excited to put together the top 5 running. Brendan, you were on last pod, me, Kyle, and Timmy. We're putting together what a top 5 running backs looking like right now in the league. I'm interested. To do it. I'm gonna do it here soon.
Yeah, my last team, with the Niners, I used a phrase. I'm truly not going to use any words for this one. Give me 7 question marks, Keenan, because I still can't wrap my head around 3-0. I said this team was going to be competitive. I didn't think they were going to be dog shit, but I didn't see this. And it seems like we get one of these teams each year in the NFL. But man, all right, they dog walked the Dolphins. We all said they're quitting on McDaniel. Okay, cool. Second week, weird win over the Broncos. Weird leverage call on a missed field goal. Probably shouldn't have won that game. You got a gift there. Okay. Titans, Keen, I think you picked against them. I picked against them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Titans at all, clearly. If you heard the last episode, I don't like their head coach at all. But hey, none of these teams go 0-16 unless you're truly awful. 0-17. You got to get a win sometime. Why not a divisional game? Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Colts win that game 3-0. Now they got the Rams on Sunday. Be a competitive game. And I'm shocked that we're here. I kind of agree with Brandon. I think there will be some regression at some point. That's why I'm not ready.
Oh yeah.
I'm not ready to hand them the division. I don't like how the Jags have looked at all. But the fact that I can say that and they're still 2-1 with the talent that they have, especially on offense, I think they will be heard from.
Yeah.
And I think even the Texans at some point, unless the wheels fall all the way off, will be heard from at some point. But they're going to be a week by week case for me. Again, I think they're well coached.
Fair.
This is again the genesis of the conversation Brandon and I were having in the group chat probably about a month and a half ago with Shane Steichen, where I said I think he's good enough to at least get you wins regardless of who's there. Brandon's like, I don't know. He might be good enough, but I don't know if I'd want him as the coach of my team. I think, excuse me, I think that's what we're seeing here is Steichen's a good coach, at least fundamentally. But week by week, let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to, week 16, week 17, week 18, and the Colts are possibly 9-8 fighting for it. You know what I mean? So they're still very much a week by week team to me. Daniel Jones, he obviously looks amazing for who he is, for what we thought he was going to be coming into the season. So the fact you're getting that production out of him, the fact that you're getting that confidence level out of him, like he looks like he's got confidence when he's dropping back in the pocket. That's all you can really ask for on top of being 3-0. So we'll see. They got a good cushion, but I wouldn't be surprised if this falls off. But 7 question marks for me would be my word because I don't.
So Kyle, here's the thing. You're right. And I think there's gonna be a regressions. I don't think this team's 13-4. So I think they'll be 9-8.
But also they could be. They could be.
But here's the thing. I think that 9-8 might win the division by 2 games.
Good.
And here's the reason why. The Jags' next 4 games are San Fran in San Fran, Kansas City, Seattle, and the Rams. They might be 2-5.
Where's that Seattle game?
That all of them are at home. So good for them. Thank God all of them are at home for that.
They got 4 straight at home, kid.
3 straight. So they're at San Fran, and then they're 3 straight at home.
Got you.
But so that right there is difficult. Then they see the Raiders at the Raiders, and then they play at Houston. And at Houston is going to be tough because Houston's obviously going to be playing 1 for the division, and 2, they all lost them the first time. Houston, Tennessee this week.
One of those games.
Next week, Baltimore.
One of those 3 or 4 games, that must be in London, right? Because they annually go to London.
It might be. I think it's the Rams one is
Monday night, and then the Rams is London because that's a 9:30 a.m.
Yeah, the Rams are London. And then the Texans. The Texans have Tennessee this week, but then they have Baltimore, a bye, Seattle, San Fran, Denver. I'm just saying, both of these teams could be 2-5, and then if the Colts just go 500, they're 5-2.
That's all they need.
So that's what I'm like. That's why I'm giving them the division now. It has nothing to do with I think the Colts are just far and away better than them, even though they're definitely better than them. It's just I don't see a path. You can tell me in 4 weeks that both of those teams are 2-5, and the Colts are 5-2, and I'm like, okay.
Can I? Unless Trevor Lawrence gets his head out of his fucking ass, then point blank,
Billy.
I'm this close to a Jaguar crash out already. I got rid of my Trevor Lawrence jersey already for.
He did the Skip Bayless where he loves to do the video and throwing the Dak jersey.
We'll get a weekly Instagram clip of Brandon throwing a Jags jersey in the trash can.
And then if he was good, he'd take the jersey out of the trash.
$55 million when you play like a jackass.
True that.
So it's like Steve-O.
True that.
Johnny Knoxville.
I hate to say it. I truly, 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 truly hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it. I keep having these visions. Daniel Jones is going to get hurt, and we're going to see Anthony Richardson for maybe a short amount of time. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to get hurt for the season, but what if it's just 3 games? That's all you need.
Well,
That's all the
yeah,
Texans need. That's all the Jaguars need. Is for Anthony
everything
Richardson
I
to.
just said over the last 5 to 10 minutes, if Anthony Richardson starts more than 3 games, all out the window. All
Now,
out
what
the
if we
window.
get extra weird? Anthony Richardson just does a Daniel Jones. Like, what if we're in like the Twilight Zone here?
That would be crazy.
I'd be even more
I would be
surprised.
like, what's
Oh,
going? I'd be like, I give up on everything I know about this league, which is not much. But if Anthony Richardson all of a sudden is going to turn in and have a comeback year in his 3rd season, I'll be like, all right, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
yeah. I don't know.
Um, but I mean, back to what we're talking about though, bro. Like, you tell me any outcome with this Colts team at this point, I'll believe it because I can't believe they're 3-0. If they continued and had a Viking season, I'd have to believe it because of what we saw out of the Vikings last year. I would have thought you were crazy if you told me Sam Darnold was going to do that. And if you told me that,
Mm-hmm.
if you told me that the Colts kind of have a season like the Steelers last year where they start off hot and they kind of peter off, I'd believe that too. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's kind of the reason
Yeah.
for the question marks. One thing I think we would
Mm-hmm.
be remiss if we didn't talk about would be the Ravens and Lions game from Monday night. So I just want to hear your guys' thoughts because that was honestly one of the most impressive wins in recent memory for me from the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
And just an intriguing game overall from the Henry fumble to everything that happened from the pass rush against Lamar. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
seen Lamar quite under duress, quite like that. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Brandon, you go first.
Um, I think any question that we had about the Lions this year, as far as losing both coordinators, I think those are long gone, put to rest. Buried, buried 600 feet deep into the Earth's core. The Lions look amazing. Um, this version of their offense, it looks a little bit different than what it typically has been. I love the fact that they're back to featuring Amon-Ra St. Brown. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like the 50-50, 60-40 split, whatever you want to call it, between Gibbs and Montgomery. I think that's the perfect way to do it. As great as a player that Gibbs is, I don't think he needs 70-80% of the workload because Montgomery's there. Montgomery would start on a lot of teams right now.
Yeah, I like how it's now about 55-45 Gibbs to Montgomery because before it was the switch.
Mhm.
Out of if you're giving 35 touches to the running backs, I want like 20 to Gibbs and about 15 to Montgomery. So
Yeah,
like that's
absolutely.
exactly, and that's how they've been doing it, and it's perfect.
Yeah,
I
like
love it.
perfect, like because
Mm-hmm.
they're contrasting running styles.
Yes.
I love Janison Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's great, great deep threat. Obviously, Laporta's still there. Like the defense is insane. Like obviously the moves that they made this season or this past offseason are paying off. Carlton Davis, Marcus Davenport, like you brought in other guys, you drafted guys, Terrion Arnold. And for the Ravens, like the Ravens have some question marks. Like I was extremely high on that defense. I don't think it's a player or a personnel issue. I think it's a coaching issue. I think Zach Orr is their defensive coordinator, former linebacker for the Ravens, actually. I think he's gone by midseason because that defense, there's no reason that defense should be that bad. Like that defense is atrocious. As far as the offensive line, I really think it's just a one game kind of fluky thing. Derrick Henry, I think Derrick Henry is going to be probably hammering ball security drills for the next couple of weeks because he did it in the Buffalo game. Essentially, gave Buffalo the game. Obviously, you give the ball back to Detroit there when you have a chance to go down the field,
Mm-hmm.
tie it up. Yeah, the Lions look real as they've ever been, and the Ravens. I think the Ravens will be okay. They're just a couple of hiccups to get over, but great game, amazing game.
I'm in the Lions answered every question you ever have about them. They're going to be, even if like losing, winning, whatever throughout the season, they're going to be a double-digit win team who is going to make the playoffs, whether it's the division lead or it's going to be in the wild card. And they're going to be a team that now has veteranship in the playoffs. This team has been to multiple playoff runs. Obviously, Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl, but they've been to multiple playoff runs now. So they're against some of these even younger teams like the Packers, who are a little younger. Like they're going to be the more veteran team in those situations. So the Lions are going to be something to deal with. It's going to be really difficult The Ravens side of things, you start to worry a little bit. Offensively, they have all the tools and all the weapons. The thing that gets me with the Ravens is this is one of, like, I know a lot of the time we talk about the Ravens and how their mistakes are what loses games. This was one of those games where it wasn't just their mistakes, it was what the Lions were doing to them. The Lions truly beat them. As like Buffalo, you could talk to, oh, the Ravens beat themselves by doing this or doing that or whatnot. That's fine. And a lot of the time with Baltimore, that is kind of what it comes down to. But that's unfortunately the conversation that we have a little bit too much with Baltimore, is them on the losing side. Not of all pivotal games, because they've obviously won big games before. I'm not trying to make it seem like they haven't, but especially when it gets to late in season, because really my view with them always comes to a playoff focus, because that's really, at this point, they've graduated towards me worrying about what their regular season output's going to be, regardless if it's 10-8 or 10-7, 11-6, 12, whatever it is. The playoffs are what we worry about, and I'm a little worried just because it seems like there's everlasting issues that they're not getting over, and it seems like the same issues kind of repeat themselves again and again, and that's what I'm worried about for them on the playoff run again. And then that's kind of where you start to get to the John Harbaugh conversation of like, how long are we going to just let this run out there without something changing?
Yeah, I mean, look, I kind of already said it. Ultra impressive win from the Lions.
Yeah.
And like you said, Keenan, it wasn't so much what Baltimore did as much as what the Lions were doing to them, which is why it was so impressive to me. Going into this game, I'm thinking Baltimore at home and Jared Goff on grass, right? Like we see a difference with Jared Goff. He handled himself so professionally, and this team overall handled themselves like they've been to a Super Bowl, right? Like that's all I could think about as they were closing this game. They just looked so professional. They were just handling their business. It was refreshing to see. It was refreshing to see. It was surprising to some degree, but also, like I said, ultra impressive. Like this is one of my favorite wins from any team over the last couple seasons.
They had a few fourth down plays. That throw to Amon-Ra was a beauty that ended the game.
Yeah.
And then that fourth down run, the handoff to Amon-Ra to the pitch to Gibbs, where you thought like, oh, that might have been Ben Johnson's. Like, no, that's just in the Lions. Like whatever they have. So I wonder how much Dan Campbell has involved with those like kind of trick mindsets and things like that. 'Cause that's such a beautiful play that I don't know why I've barely ever seen it or haven't seen it before. Like even if I have seen it, I don't fully remember it.
I think
like that's just
it seems like they ran it last year, and if they
they
didn't,
they might have.
someone else
I
did,
think they
but
did.
it seems like
but like
they did the option stuff last year.
that just seems like such an easy play, especially when you have receivers like Amon-Ra, where you can put him in the backfield and he can either act as a running back or pitch that off. Because like if the guy's reading over here, you can just take it himself. Or if not, just pitch it off to Gibbs, and like such a smooth play.
Yeah, man. And
I do have a. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, what team? Oh, the Chargers. I talked about like enjoying being a sleeper. I think the Lions are kind of like that, where they're like, all right, y'all want to talk about the Packers? Y'all want to talk about X, Y, Z? Like, cool. We'll just be over here handling our business, doing what we do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm super impressed by how they, like Brandon said, without the two coordinators, like they haven't missed a beat.
This is the first time in a couple years they haven't been like talked about as the team, because 2 years ago they were everyone's darling, kind of like to be really good. Then they got to the championship game and lost, and last year obviously 15-2. So like this year people are like obviously talking about the Eagles more, talking about the Packers more, and they're like, okay, please do.
Real quick,
We now can just go in there and not even worry about headline. We will just go there, play football, and go home.
real quick before Petty goes, I'm not necessarily worried about the Ravens. I have questions about Derrick Henry, though. I want to know what the hell's going on, because 3 games, 3 fumbles. We don't see that.
He looked in dismay on the sideline after
he did.
that. He slammed his helmet and he like slid over and was like, oh my God. Like he looked like he lost a child.
You
Okay.
You win and lose as a team, but you've got 2 games where you can directly point to like, all right, yeah, we win and lose as a team, but this was a huge reason as to why we lost. So that's going to be something I'm monitoring going forward. He'll probably be, Brandon said he's going to be doing ball security drills. I think he's going to be doing ball security drills with a sniper overhead at whatever practice
three
facility they're
games,
at.
3 fumbles.
So
3
at
games,
3 in
3
the
fumbles.
morning.
right, straight up.
And that's
Like their defense, that was kind of worrisome because they got out physical. But like aside from the blitzes and everything, like Lamar looked pretty good. Lamar was kind of making magic there, except for when he was getting blitzed. But everything else, man, like Henry's gonna be the one I'm looking at the next few weeks going forward.
I have a simple solution for Baltimore, and it's acquiring one player and one player only. It's not a defensive player, it's an offensive player, it's a skill position player. Go get Tyreek Hill. If you go get Tyreek Hill, put him on the other side of Zay Flowers, you don't need your defense. Just go out there and fucking outscore everybody. Because guess what? That means there's less people in the box. Okay. You got Tyreek going deep. You can put Zay Flowers over the middle. You got Rashad Bateman at wide receiver 3. That's one of the best wide receiver 3s in football at that point. You got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. And then you got Derrick Henry up the middle. Derrick Henry's averaging a little under 6 yards carry right now. Wouldn't be surprised if it was 10 yards carry at that point in time. Go get Tyreek Hill. I'm sure he's available. I'm sure you could probably throw Miami a second, third round pick and go get him. I think Lamar needs another receiver. I think it's got to happen. Like I think it's got to happen.
Petty, does Keenan know your original version of this that you told me over the offseason?
I remember
there was an original player, Keenan, that he had to this that would have shook up the NFL world. That like
who was it?
T. Higgins, right? T. Higgins.
Ooh,
Divisional trade.
Yeah, that would have never happened in a million years. But so the one thing I do want to mention before we head out of here, but the one thing I do want to mention is Lamar. I'm going to be kind of keying in on a little bit, watching him over the next few weeks. He was starting to panic in that game. I feel like a lot of those sacks where I'm trying to extend it to be great. And I think when Derrick Henry's rolling, he doesn't have to think in that way, and he can kind of just take what the defense gives him. And then obviously when he needs to be Lamar, he can be Lamar. It's going to be really interesting to see against the Chiefs and like going forward what his mindset is, because if he is starting to get a little antsy, I think he could fall his way into a few more of those kind of backbreaking sacks. And that's going to be interesting to see, just to see how he operates. I think getting Derrick Henry back in the groove is going to help him out a lot.
He's been sacked 12 times this year through 3 games? It's 23 total last year. So
how many times did he get sacked in this past game?
It was 7 this past game, so 5 in the other 2. So which is still 5 in 2 games is not great. That's not on great pace.
Yeah.
So that's
I mean
that's where I'm a little concerned. Just like not like worried about like him being like a superstar. Like he's gonna be a superstar. Just like I'm a little worried about like him being more antsy and then trying to do a little too much. Because I felt like some of the balls he did a little bit too much, and it was like even Lamar. Like sometimes a Steph 3 is like, Steph, I know you can shoot it from 35, but that one we didn't need. Like that one, I promise you, Steph, we could have gotten a better look on offense. We didn't need that one. So I think sometimes it can do a little much.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way about with CJ Stroud. Maybe like if you're under that much pressure, how else are you going to react? You know, especially because there was a lot of times it was three-step drop and like they're in the backfield. Like I've rarely seen anybody put that much pressure on the Ravens offensive line, period, over the last few years. So we'll see. Maybe you're right. Fellas, we'll save those NBA topics for maybe a week or two. Hard to believe we're in training camp already. Picks this Friday, maybe. Cannot wait. Cannot wait for this weekend all around as far as football goes. But listen, this was the Warner Brothers podcast. We'll be back. This was a lot of fun, fellas. This was Kyle, Brandon, and Keenan. Yep. We'll be back. Enjoy YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Like, follow, subscribe. Peace, y'all.